Breaking tonight, the countdown to President's first State of the Union is on, while the battle over immigration reform intensifies on the Hill. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. And a special thank you to all my viewers for making Justice #1 again last Saturday. A lot of news to cover tonight. White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley, as well as Congressman Ron DeSantis, are both standing by. But first, my opening statement. The biggest snow job in political history is taking place right now in the United States. Illegal immigrants trying to make you feel bad about President Trump's offer to grant 1.8 million illegals amnesty and a path to citizenship. Query: I'd like to know what country, anywhere in the world, that would let in 1.8 million people who violated their rules, disrespected their laws, but were still willing to forgive them and generously allow them citizenship, only in the end to be called racist.
That plan is a campaign to make America white again. It's a plan that says over 50% of the current legal immigration will be cut back, that many people will be sent out of the country.
So here we go again. Reagan gave amnesty in 1986, and just over 30 years later, we're in the same mess. Why? Why? Because the border wasn't secured and closed. Illegals just kept pouring in. And during those Obama years in 2014 and 15, teenagers from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras were virtually invited in, some even members of that violent gang, MS-13. So you say, come on, have a heart. The Dreamers were born here. This is the only country they know. In truth, most Americans, including myself, don't have a problem giving Dreamers a path to citizenship. But somehow, that doesn't seem to be good enough. Senator Dick Durbin says Dreamers should not be held hostage to President Trump's crusade to tear apart families and waste billions of American tax dollars on an ineffective wall. Wait a minute. You dare to turn around and call us names when tens of millions of legal immigrants followed the rules, waited in line, hired attorneys, studied American history, and swore allegiance to this great nation. Most of them saying that the day they became an American citizen was one of the greatest days of their lives. I know, because as a Superior Court judge, I swore in thousands of newly naturalized citizens. They didn't complain. They didn't call us racist. They thanked us. But no, not the Dreamers. Democratic immigration advocate Eddie Vail called the White House proposal, quote, a legislative burning cross. So, what makes you think you're entitled to citizenship? What have you done to earn it? On second thought, it doesn't matter what you think. You've got no standing in this matter. You are not even a citizen. The DACA narrative, though, of young high schoolers about to go to college, in college, or recently graduated, looking to contribute to society, when, in point of fact, Dreamers are not a highly educated segment of the U.S. population. According to a study by Harvard researcher Roberto Gonzalez, 21% of DACA recipients have dropped out of high school, far above the national dropout rate in the United States of 5.9%. And according to that study, Dreamers then have lower than average educational attainment. DACA supporters say Dreamers are no more likely to commit crimes than U.S. citizens, but according to Crime Prevention Research Center, illegals in Arizona commit crimes double the rate than U.S. citizens. And by the way, according to a September 2017 report of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, illegal immigration costs the United States taxpayers a net cost of $116 billion. That's billion with a B dollars a year, clearly outweighing taxes paid to federal and state governments by a ratio of 7 to 1. The federal government alone spends $46 billion on illegal aliens and their U.S.-born children for public education, for medical care, justice enforcement, and welfare. So here we have President Trump willing to give almost 2 million illegals amnesty in exchange for a border wall, an end to chain migration, and the end to the visa lottery. Yet instead of being grateful, they're indignant.
They want these workers to live as second-class citizens, to not have the rights and ability to speak up.
Second-class citizens? There is no such thing as a second-class citizen. You're either illegal or a citizen with all the rights and privileges that go along with it, including the right to vote and the right to pay taxes like the rest of us. What makes you think your parents have the right to be citizens because we're allowing you, your spouse, and your children to be citizens? I've got news for you. You're here because of the United States' largesse. You have nothing. You have no cards, no chits, and no leverage in this game. And on top of that, you complain that we're white supremacists. Get your facts straight. How could we be white supremacists if most of the 2 million that the president wants to give amnesty to are not white? And one of the largest DACA organizations says of the president's proposal, quote, "Let's call this proposal for what it is, a white supremacist ransom note. Trump and Stephen Miller killed DACA and created the crisis that immigrant youth are facing. They have taken immigrant youth hostage, pitting us against our parents, black immigrants, and our communities in exchange for our dignity." I've got a news for you, dreamers. You're being used. Crying Chuck, a.k.a. worthless shutdown Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Dick Durbin, couldn't care less about you. You are nothing but a pawn in a bigger game set up by your hero, Barack Obama, who intentionally didn't resolve this when he was president. Now, President Trump, whom you hate, has more than double the number of people to whom he's willing to give amnesty, and he's willing to pay a political price for it. And these people would rather reject Trump's offer to make 2 million of you legal and keep you in the shadows instead of giving President Donald Trump a win that he's entitled to. You get it? You're being used. They don't want it to work. And by the way, what is the problem with the wall anyway? Open borders only allow more people to cross and add to our tax burden. And who are you to say what a sovereign nation can and cannot do? Try doing that in your home country and see what happens to you. And who are you to say that you're entitled to bring in your parents in addition to your spouse and your children? What gives you the right to be indignant? Your parents are the ones who created this mess in the first place by bringing you here. Citizenship is a privilege. We don't grant it to people because they think they deserve it. What have you done for the United States? Were you in the military like my dad and grandfather? What have you done to benefit this country? And if you've been collecting welfare, how about you pay it back? Now, I believe in the American dream. I don't want anyone to take advantage of it, and I don't want anyone to ruin it, especially people who are not grateful to be here, who seemingly hate us and call us racists. There needs to be an allegiance to the United States and what this country stands for. And that's my open. Tell me